Some people spend their lives searching for adventure. Romeo never had to search for it. It found him every single day. New faces, new stories, new beginnings. He believed life was meant to be lived without limits. And for a very long time, it seemed he was right. Romeo thought he had seen it all. He was wrong. One evening seemed no different from the rest. Another stranger, another fleeting romance. But this encounter was unlike any before. Hidden from sight, an uninvited guest was waiting for a new home. Weeks passed. Then one day, Romeo noticed something unusual, something down under. Fear gripped him instantly. How? What happened? When did this begin? His mind raced through countless memories, searching for answers. The ulcer remained painless, some fluid on top. Every forgotten face seemed familiar again. Every careless decision returned to haunt him. The questions troubled him more than the lesion itself. For the first time, Romeo realized that some encounters leave behind more than just memories. After thinking his choices, Romeo finally gathers courage and visits a doctor. The doctor listens quietly, examines his lesion including the lymph nodes, and his expression changes. The doctor says, "Romeo, I think I know what this might be." Unable to face the truth, Romeo slips out under the cover of darkness. But Romeo's mind raced endlessly. Who gave me this? Will I recover? What am I supposed to do now? Every encounter replayed itself in his mind like a forgotten dream. Faces blurred together, memories became accusations. One thought haunted him above all else. The world doesn't need to know. Not yet. Isolation became the norm. Fears loomed. Days became dark with fear. Then a miracle happened. The ulcer disappeared. The swelling remained, but Romeo chose to ignore it. Romeo felt relief like never before. Perhaps my immune system defeated it. Perhaps the doctor was mistaken. Perhaps there was never anything to worry about in the first place. Soon the fear was replaced by frivolity. The parties returned, the laughter returned, the old Romeo returned. What he didn't know was that while he celebrated his victory, the real battle had only just begun. But Romeo was not the first to face this mysterious disease. Nearly 500 years ago, in the year 1530, an Italian physician and poet wrote of a shepherd boy named Syphilis. Syphilis angered the gods by worshipping humans. He was punished with a terrible disease which spread. The disease would eventually take its name from the unfortunate shepherd. The world would eventually come to know it as syphilis. For centuries, the disease remained a mystery. Its true culprit would remain hidden from mankind until scientists finally uncovered the invisible invader responsible for it all. Meet Treponema pallidum. Treponema pallidum spreads via intimate human contact. Very rarely, it may find other parts as well. Small in size, silent in nature, but capable of leaving a trail that history would never forget. This sneaky invader belonged to the spirochete family, long, slender, and twisted like a corkscrew. For centuries, the invader smirked in the shadows, too delicate to be seen by using an ordinary light microscope. That fateful night for Romeo, a handful of these invaders entered Romeo's body, perhaps 500, perhaps 1,000. They slipped through tiny invisible abrasions in the skin. No pain, no warning, no sign of what was to come. The tiny spirals celebrated as they sped through the lymphatic highways. They traveled silently to reach the bloodstream. There they spread across throughout the body, quietly establishing new territories. All the while, Romeo carried on with his life, completely unaware of the silent invasion unfolding within. Romeo was among the unfortunate 30% who developed the infection after exposure. As the future unfolded before him, several paths emerged. The first had already begun, primary syphilis. If left untreated, the disease would progress to the secondary stage. Then came latency, a period of deceptive silence. And for some unfortunate souls, the journey would end in devastating complications of tertiary syphilis. The future remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: ignoring the disease would not make it disappear. 3 blissful months had passed. Romeo was happy as ever. The parties continued, the laughter had returned, and the fears of the dreadful episode slowly faded into distant memory. One cold morning, something changed. A rash had appeared across his upper body. His mouth was sore. Some ulcers had begun to appear. Definitely not a lover's bite. Not this time. There were swellings too. Romeo wasn't quite sure where they had come from, but he knew one thing: something was wrong. Very wrong. The fear he thought he had buried came rushing back. The questions returned. What's happening to me? Why is it coming back? Was the doctor right all along? Romeo wasn't alone. Across his body, Treponema pallidum had quietly multiplied and spread, knocking the doors of every organ in his body. The disease had eventually entered his second act. Romeo was confused. Before he knew it, Romeo found himself sitting in front of the doctor. Doctor says, well, let's now be realistic. You can run again, the ulcer may heal, symptoms may disappear, but the disease is not gone. Running won't change the truth, Romeo, but facing it can change the outcome. The doctor patiently explained what's happening to Romeo and what might happen if not taken care of right then. Romeo, as you have already seen, Treponema pallidum is a master of deception. It appears, it vanishes. It returns when least expected. If you choose to run again, the rash may disappear, the ulcers may heal, even the swellings may fade away. But do not mistake silence for victory. The next possible stage is known as a latent syphilis, early or late. During this period, you may feel completely healthy. There may be no rash, no ulcers, no warning signs at all. Yet, the invader has not left, it has merely gone into hiding. The disease may hide from you, but it cannot hide from your blood. Long after the symptoms disappear, lab tests may continue to reveal the evidence of the battle taking place within your body. This silent period may last for months or even years. We call this earlier part of the early latent syphilis. Beyond that lies the late latent syphilis. Both are quiet. Both are dangerous in their own way. Years may pass in silence, yet when treponema returns, the consequence could be devastating. Some may develop destructive gummatous lesions, others suffer damage to heart and the great vessels, and in some, the nervous system itself becomes involved. These late stages are the devastating hallmarks of tertiary syphilis. Suddenly, something kicks into Romeo's mind. Doctor, there is no hiding of what I have been. But how sure are you that this is syphilis? Can it be something else? Alas, humpty number of things can happen with adventures like mine. The doctor says, well, a good question indeed. Let's now investigate and confirm what it looks like. Doctor says, okay, let me break it down for you. The step one is catching the culprit at the crime scene. Romeo, if the lesions are still present, sometimes we don't need clues. We can catch the culprit himself by a dark field microscopy or direct fluorescent antibody testing. Step 2 would be to follow the footprints. The problem is that Treponema is an expert escape artist, but criminals always leave the footprints behind. So there comes your VDRL and RPR test. Step 3 would be matching the fingerprints, that is, footprints raise suspicion, fingerprints reveal identity. So there comes your TPHA, TPPA, and FTA antibodies. And finally, the DNA evidence. If we need the strongest evidence of all, we can search for the criminal's genetic signature. There comes your PCR, a DNA evidence almost impossible to argue with. Romeo's face brightens up and he asks, if it is confirmed, what's the treatment? Is it tough? Doctor says, Simple, one drug, one dose of penicillin. Early syphilis, single dose. Late, latent or tertiary, you'll have multiple doses. If it is neurosyphilis, you may require longer treatment. Romeo looks relieved. So if I take the treatment, that's it. I don't have to see you again, doctor. The doctor smiled and gave a knowing wink. Oh no, Romeo. Defeating Treponema is one thing, but proving that it is gone is another. The doctor pulled out a report and continued. We'll need to follow up visits. Every 3 months, we'll repeat the tests such as VDR or RPR and watch the results carefully. Romeo frowned. So the test should become negative, asked Romeo. No, not always, replied the doctor. In primary and secondary syphilis, the test titers usually fade steadily and may become non reactive within about an year of treatment. But in latent and tertiary, the titers may come down, but they may be detectable for years despite adequate treatment. Romeo leaned back in his chair. So the battle doesn't end with the injection. The doctor nodded. No, Romeo. The injection wins the battle. The follow up proves the victory. Romeo no longer evaded and followed up with the doctor, and the results spoke for themselves after treatment. The values dropped considerably. Romeo walks back into life, bright sunlight on his face, ready to face the world, a changed man. One Romeo was saved, but Treponema's story doesn't end here. Somewhere tonight, another Romeo may be making the same very mistake, and Treponema waits patiently, bags packed, ready for its next journey.